Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Team Liquid Legacy Star League round of 16, and look who is back here in the co-caster seat.
Hi guys, how you doing? I've really missed you. I hope you've missed me as well. I understand SpongeBob replaced me last week, so I hope I can live up to his reputation. But it feels really good to be back.
There's a high standard to meet there, Elegant. I hope you are fully prepared.
I know, it's gonna be really tough.
Well, we are gonna have some epic games today, though, so I don't think you'll have to try too hard. Let us take a look at our group. First group, Group A of the round of 16 is going to be Sziky, SouthPark, Technics, and G5. 3 Zergs and a Protoss. How do you feel about this group, Elegant?
Well, we all know who I'm going to be rooting for today. It's no secret, it's no mystery. I've been kind of a supporter of G5 through the tournament so far, and in a group where he's surrounded by Zergs, fantastic Zergs, I'm really rooting for him to be, first or second place. I think first place would be a little bit hopeful, because to come out against Sziky and Technics at all is going to be a really hard challenge for him. But I have my hopes, and I think maybe he's going to be able to sneak in a second place. But Sziky and Technics are going to be tough opponents to beat. Yeah,
and if you look at the staff picks from our preview article, it seems that most of the TLS staff agree with you. Only Hipster Hyde voted for SouthPark and G5 to get out of the group. Everyone else thought Sziky and Technics would, and I mean, that's no surprise. Sziky is basically undisputably the #1 foreigner in the scene right now. I mean, as far as I know, he's so good that he doesn't actually practice with foreigners anymore. He goes on Fish and he like trains with Koreans and stuff. Because a while ago, if anyone didn't know, there was sort of a, actually not really a show match, but basically there was a team league, like a clan league, a clan tournament among like the Korean amateur teams. And they actually allowed us to enter a foreigner team into that tournament, the Foreigner All-Star team, amusingly shortened to FAT. And of course we recruited Sziky, our #1 foreigner, to be on that team, and Sziky was the only person to get a win in our series against the Korean team. I believe it was GSP, and he actually beat Dr. K, who was a former SKT1 coach. So that is how seriously good this guy is. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people would have him as the favorite to take the whole tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would at this stage. I mean, I haven't seen him play for a little while. I know he hasn't been necessarily on his most amazing form recently. He maybe had a little bit of downtime, but I think he'll be back with a vengeance for this. But yeah, he's still got to be one of my top picks to go absolutely all the way for this.
And his opponent, though, is no slouch. It's going to be SouthPark here, one of the many Gosu Polish Zergs. He's got another fellow Polish Zerg, True Touch, also in the round of 16. I think he's playing in Group D, I want to say. I think he's in Group D.
Yeah, Group D, True Touch. That's the one.
Yep. Anyway, he's super strong Zerg. I feel like he might be slightly underrated or just slightly overshadowed because of all the other strong Polish players like True Touch, as I said, and Pike, and even like Mazur and Schnitzel, even though those guys aren't so active anymore. So he's never been super high on my radar, but I know he's a very solid Zerg player. Yeah,
well, I've seen SouthPark around a lot. He's been quite. I've seen him pop up more in team leagues, I think, than I have in individual leagues necessarily. And I know he's got the quality, and he does pale a bit in comparison to guys like Mazur, guys like True Touch. But yeah, as you already said, he's a great player in his own right, and he can really do something here. And it's easy to discard him when you're looking at the group with Sziky and Technics. And again, he comes out looking bad just because of the quality of the other players, not because of his own shortcomings. So I think he could actually surprise us.
Indeed, and well, it is a ZVZ, of course, so anything can happen. And I would like to see what does happen. Elegant, are you ready to go into game #1?
I am absolutely ready.
All right, here we go. Sziky versus SouthPark. And here we are in game #1 on Neo Jade. At the top right is the yellow Zerg. We will have SJ SouthPark, and at the bottom right As the brown Zerg, we will have Sziky.
Yes, indeed. Forgot to unmute my microphone for just a second there. Minor technical hitch. See, this is the kind of thing that can happen all the time after taking a break.
Indeed. Even when you're not taking a break, it still happens.
Yeah, that's true. So it's going to happen a little bit more now. Oh, Sziky. Not even sure what the format is. Okay, cool. Best of 1. Why would Sziky be unhappy about that? Sziky can take... Actually, I guess Zyky's a bit safer in a best of 3, isn't he? Best of 1, you can always run the risk of getting cheesed out early.
Yeah, I guess so, but given that, you know, many people would expect Sziky to have, like, 100% win rate against all foreigners, I don't think it really matters. 100% win rate is the same whether it's best of 1 or best of 3.
Well, but having said that, there is no such thing as 100% win rate, whereas there is such thing as an 80% win rate, so I can see why he'd favour best of 3.
And it looks like we got Overlord from both players, no 9-pull shenanigans. It was quite interesting because last week in the last round of 24 groups, we actually saw a couple of 9-pull versus 9-pull ZVZs, I believe.
We did?
Yeah, which is not something you see every day. Yeah, you see what you've missed, Elegant? You see what you've missed? Your favorite 9-pull, and you weren't even here for it. By the way, curious little note that we forgot to mention was that both Overlords are actually scouting horizontally here, rather than doing the conventional scouting to the close natural. I believe, yeah, Sziky is actually the one who's scouting in the non-standard direction. And look at this! He's actually changed his Overlord halfway, so he was actually metagaming here, assuming that SouthPark would be scouting towards the bottom right if he had spawned at the bottom left. Okay,
that's actually really, really interesting. As we can see, he would have been right. SouthPark displaying a counterclockwise scouting technique, so we can see that that is actually some pretty smart play coming in from Sziky right there. So again, Sziky staying one step ahead of the game, and SouthPark throws down the hatchery in his natural as well. Now with the spawning pool too, looks like Sziky's going to be well ahead in terms of his link speed timing. It should be alright for SouthPark in terms of his link timing, but it's going to be a little bit edgy defending that open choke point rather than defending a ramp. He's going to have maybe his work cut out for him a little bit, especially once Sziky's speed kicks in.
I quite like SouthPark's choice of opening though, because, I mean, look at it this way, you know, even though he's a good player, he knows as well as we do that Sziky's, you know, a level above. So he's taking a risk here. He's saying, all right, I'm going for 12 hatch. It is a risky build. If my opponent 9 pulls, I'm going to die. But I'm gonna assume that Sziky's gonna be the one going for a safe build, like the 12 hatch expand, which is exactly what Zyky's done here. So I'm gonna go for the risky 12 hatch strategy, knowing that he's probably not gonna 9 pull, and we'll just go for this 12 pull, and then I'll be ahead. And so I really like that risk that SouthPark's taking here. And look at this, Sziky not even moving out with his links, just sending 2 out to scout and leaving the other 4 to defend his own expansion, because he doesn't know, you know, for all he knows, SouthPark could have 9 pulled as well, although his Overlord's gonna tell him differently shortly here.
Sorry, I just had a minor interruption. It's all going wrong for me today, so you gotta help me out.
That's alright, Elegant. That's alright. I'm sure after a couple of games you'll be right back on your game.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, like you were saying, I really like the way these openings have gone for SouthPark, and he's managed to get himself a significant lead if he can hold on to his natural. And there's no reason why he won't be able to hold on to his natural, because while Zyky's link speed is going to be important, he doesn't seem to be really putting out the serious numbers with which he'd really want to break his opponent. He's going to be able to put a good little bit of a test in, but SouthPark just has the superior link numbers at the front of his own base, so I think it's just going to be absolutely fine. And the lair timing actually favouring SouthPark slightly as well, so this is looking good for him. And meanwhile, we have a run by coming in from Sziky, and all his links are going to get through.
What?
Wow.
What? How did they all get in there? I was like, oh, SouthPark's got a nice little ling wall there. That's perfect. I was about to praise SouthPark for being so smart and just being defensive with his lings and not worrying about the link speed. But oh man, 2 drones going down already. He's got some speed Sziky lings in his base here. This is the worst possible situation. Yeah. Oh man, 2 drones down. That already nullifies his advantage from the 12 hatch, I'm pretty sure. And his link speed is still not quite done. He needs a couple more seconds. I don't think these links of Sziky will be able to do any more damage here. Link speed should be done, but 2 drones is already a ton in ZBZ.
Yeah, that's a big deal, and we can really see how that link speed counts, because rather, if SouthPark had the link speed right there, then that run by would have been far less effective. But Sziky really made it work. Will he get another drone? Oh my god, he gets a 3rd drone as well. This has been very, very nice for SouthPark. So Sziky finally loses his links. He has had to defend up with an extra sunken colony at the front, so the damage maybe not all that bad as it would be, but nonetheless still pretty horrible. But we can see that sunken's about to come in very, very useful. We have a large number of links coming out of SouthPark's base, heading towards Zyky's front door. Zyky's going to have to work hard to defend this. That sunken colony could make all the difference right here, but he's going to have to block pretty well with his links. A run by must not happen.
Man, that is a lot of links here, and you know, this sunken colony is actually overrated by a lot of people. I remember a very interesting game in the TSL2 where where Sen, I believe, took out Ret, and he was saying, you know, that sunken colony, it's useful, but you don't want to kind of get overconfident with that as your defense. You have to keep making links, and we can see Sziky's doing exactly that. He's constantly pumping links. He saw all the links coming out of SouthPark's base, so he's going to be absolutely fine. And SouthPark very wisely pulling back here, deciding not to commit. The spire timing is about the same for both players. Let me quickly do a drone count here to see who's actually ahead. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus 3, plus 1, 2.
He's got to be ahead.
Is that 13? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It looks like Sziky's 2 drones ahead right now.
Yeah.
Unless I've miscounted horribly. And he's still making drones as well.
Wow, okay, so he's really going pretty serious on the drones. He's going to try and do a little bit of zergling action here. Does he have the numbers? He might just. And if he can outposition SouthPark, then the numbers could switch pretty quickly in his favor anyway, but it looks like SouthPark is producing again pretty heavily. Sziky might do well not to engage right here. He's going to pretty nasty concave, and yes, he does pull back. Sziky knows his stuff. And he's going to pull way back with the majority of his lings right now, and it looks like he's just being speculative, not going to go too seriously in right there. Meanwhile, we do have Mutalisks on the way for Sziky. How about from SouthPark? SouthPark having to go pretty much directly to Scourge and Scourge only, producing only 2 Mutalisks to start with, and so many lings coming out of his base towards the front of Zyky's base, and more sunken colonies going down, another creep colony happening, and maybe a third one too.
Sorry, I just want to quickly point out, Sziky has over double SouthPark's APM right now. He's at 410, and SouthPark's at 190. Like, what is going on here? Sziky is stupidly fast. This is, like, impossible right now. I don't know how he's keeping up such an insane APM. But, looks like here we go. The second sunken colony is not morphed. There are mutas overhead. Only 1 muta for SouthPark. SouthPark seems to have the ling advantage, though. The sunken colony goes down. The second colony is not quite done. The Scourge are coming in. I think a couple of them did actually hit here. Sziky might be in a little bit of trouble. The ground forces are all gone. Sziky's air is all gone. What the heck is going on right now? All the APM in the world is not saving him from this attack by SouthPark. The natural hatchery is going to go down. The 2 mutas are trying to take it down, but it's not enough DPS. And Sziky not paying attention, losing another Mutalisk. He's now forced to just make Scourge. I don't know what just happened there, but SouthPark is in an amazing position right now.
Sziky seemed way underprepared for that. He didn't even just seem underprepared. He seemed to really fudge his ling positioning up pretty badly. I mean, he had a lot of lings waiting at the back and didn't really engage properly. He could have had a nice concave, but he didn't commit to it early enough, and so the SouthPark was just able to get in amongst him and was able to find the positioning.
SouthPark barely saving those mutas. I thought he wasn't paying attention and would actually take all those Scourge hits, but it looks like, does end up taking a couple of hits, but I think he did lose 1 muta there and took 1 extra Scourge hit, but it definitely could have been worse there. That's one thing you should never ever do in ZVZ is leave your mutas stationary, because of course they do have a small acceleration time to get up to their full speed, so if the Scourge are already moving, they can actually catch you before your mutas actually get fast enough, even if you react instantly. So, so always keep your mutas moving.
Indeed, you should. But looking at the supply right now, I think Sziky is he's in an inordinate amount of trouble. I mean, I'm not quite sure what he can do. He has a few Mutalisks flying around, but I don't even know if he's going to be able to take on SouthPark right now. I think SouthPark's got the superior Mutalisk count even, although he is down an Overlord somehow. How did Sziky even kill an Overlord?
Yeah, I think SouthPark had his hatcheries rallied to Sziky's natural during that ling attack, and he forgot to fix it, so his Overlord just flew all the way there without him noticing.
Wow.
So a bit of a blunder there, but you know, with how far ahead he is after killing Sziky's natural, I mean, he's still got this second base, and he's got his gas mining there as well. By the way, one thing we didn't note earlier was that he made his lair at his natural instead of his main, and that's definitely a conscious decision there. So yeah, it serves well, the main purpose it serves is it gives this hatchery a bit more HP. You can see 1800 versus the 1250 of a normal hatchery, and of course the natural hatchery there is going to be the most vulnerable both to ling attacks, and in these positions it's closer by air to Sziky's base as well. So this is the point that he's really going to want to defend. So I really like that choice to make that into his lair.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good shout, because yeah, lair just a little bit safer. Maybe if Sziky had made his lair his natural, he wouldn't have lost that hatchery. He probably still would have, but you never quite know. But as you said, SouthPark did make that one slight mistake in rallying his hatchery to his natural. It might have just let Sziky back into it a little bit. Sziky's getting a bit bold right here. Manages to land it. Nice Scourge. And he's coming with some lings as well, but Sziky seems to not be microing his Mutalisks. He might have given this battle up for lost already. It looks like he's just completely throwing in the last of his units, and GG.
GG! Sziky gets taken out in game number 1. What?
What even did we just see? Sziky is currently 0-1 in his group.
Man, if Sziky goes out today in this group, I don't even know what I'm gonna do, Elegant. That Can you imagine Sziky coming in the first round as an invite and just gets taken out in the group stage?
That would show us that a long time has passed since the last ISL, because Sziky's just looked unbeatable before. Even if he were to go out, 2-0, I think my world would be turned upside down. You know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what is happening anymore. But you know, I like Sziky, but I almost want it to happen because I feel like if Sziky goes out, there's almost no favorite to win the tournament anymore. It's like then it basically goes completely up in the air. It's anyone's tournament to win. So so I think that would be quite entertaining. Anyway, so yeah, the second match will be our other two players in the group. It's going to be Technics versus G5, a ZVP next. And we'll bring you guys that game right after this break. So see you guys in a bit.